Hi, I'm Dick Smothers, and this is my brother Tom. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Dick.
The original Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour was taped before a live audience at Television City, Hollywood, during the late 60s. But every time we perform, someone will ask us when we're going to bring the show back.
So my brother and a couple of other people decided the time has come, so here we are.
The show you're about to see first aired January 9th, 1969. Our guests were the musical genius Ray Charles and the comedic genius of Jackie Mason. Now, this was one of Jackie's rare TV appearances. Tom and I and many others always thought Jackie was a great comedian, but his career was short-circuited temporarily, at least, after a run-in with the powerful Ed Sullivan. And we thought he was just too good of an entertainer not to be on the air, so we asked him to do the show.
And this is one of his great performances. This is a long piece, and it's I think it's one of the finest stand-up pieces ever done. I really think
it's great.
And you change a few words, and it could be taped yesterday, but it was back in 1969. Also, Ray Charles mastered the blues, gospel, rock, and even country western. In fact, his biggest hit was the country classic, I Can't Stop Loving You. And you'll hear Brother Ray sing it in a few minutes.
Now, here's the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. Here's what it was like, January 9th, 1969.
Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, 0216. Air, take one.
It's the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. With guest star Jackie Mason. Special guest star Ray Charles. Jimmy Joy singers, the Ron Poindexter dancers, and Nelson Riddle and his orchestra. From Television City in Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen, the Smothers Brothers.
Ye shall find, knock, and the door shall be open. Ask, and it shall be given, and the love will come trickling down.
Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and the door shall be opened. Ask, and it shall be given, and the love will come a-trickling down. Now, we can read that a lot of ways. But I know a lot of you will say, 68's been a bad year. It really has. It hasn't been a year of pleasure. You say, well, maybe you have knocked and the door wasn't open, and you've asked and it hasn't been given. Well, I sometimes wonder, and you're probably asking me, why? You ask me why. Probably some of you are asking me why I'm so optimistic. Why you smell?
I can tell you why you smell it. Very simple.
69's not going to be a good year. Some of you are probably asking why that I smile and I'm happy and I'm optimistic and I'm looking forward to the future.
Why?
1968, not yet, Dickie. Okay. I'll tell you when to ask me why. Boy, it's tough working with your brother. But I know a lot of problems have come up in 1969. There could have been a lot of jokes about 1969. Nothing. 1966 was a disaster.
Which one?
And when we look all the way around us, all we see is moral decay in the country, black and white strife, people starving. There's a total lack of love in the world, and young students and teachers are rioting. And I'll tell you why I smile, even in the midst of what we see around us, and why I have hope for the future, and why our show, and my brother and myself, try to reflect oftentimes what's wrong, but we also want everybody to know that we know what's right. You ask me why I smile with disaster around, right? Some of you don't know why. That I should be so optimistic in a world turned asunder and say, knock and the door shall be open? You ask me why? Go ahead, Dickie, now. What? Ask me why?
Lower your voice.
Ask me why?
I said lower your voice.
Ask me why. I feel optimistic.
Okay.
And I wanna go.
Why? I don't know why. If I knew why.
Life is a long, hard journey, and it doesn't matter where it
hand. So make the journey count, my friend, and love come a trickling down. Everybody,
Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be open. Ask and it shall be given, and the love will come a trickling down. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be open. Ask and it shall be given, and the love will come a trickling down.
love come a trickling, love come a trickling, love come a trickling down.
Come a trickling down.
Oh, hi there. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is one of the chosen people, which just goes to prove that some of our best friends are chosen. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jackie Mason. Jackie, it's good to have you on the show. It's really good to have you.
Well, I wish you would have made him stop applauding first, because I'm a very big hit, and I don't like to interrupt because I like to hear how I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the show is not so fantastic that I think you have to rush into it.
Okay, I don't want you to get bugged because both my brother and myself have always liked your act because you really do great shtick.
What did you say? What did you say?
I said my brother and myself have always liked your act and you do great shtick.
I don't understand that. What language are you talking? What language are you talking?
That's showbiz. I'm talking showbiz. Great, you do great shtick. It's a showbiz phrase, you know.
No, you're talking Jewish. Do you know you're talking Jewish, or are you just kibitzing around?
No, I'm not kibitzing around, so why don't you quit hawking at me, huh?
Wait a second, where am I? What is this? The 10 lost tribes of Israel? I'm surrounded by Gentiles, and it sounds like a Jewish neighborhood.
Jackie, I'm not Jewish. My brother nor myself aren't Jewish. Oh, my brother used to be Jewish, but then, you know, he started hawking at me all the time, so I just, you know, knock it off.
I can't understand this. I really can't. You take a mediocre talent, you take a lousy voice, a simple mind, and then you double it, and you got a hit. But don't get me wrong, I respect your show.
Yes,
Your budget.
Let me ask you something, Jackie. I don't want to get personal or anything. This is not. I'm not trying to just to get you uptight or anything. I just wondered, are you actually really Jewish? You don't have to.
I'd like to know what gave you the idea. Is it the way I talk?
Well, actually, you do talk kind of different. It's kind of your speech pattern. I thought maybe you might be Jewish.
No, there's nothing wrong with the way I talk. It's the way you listen. You see, to you I sound Jewish, right?
Right.
That's because of your ears. You got Gentile ears. That's why I sound Jewish. If you had Jewish ears, I would sound normal. Also, it wouldn't hurt your looks.
I heard, and I don't know, because it's always repeated by a lot of people, that you studied to be a rabbi.
No. They made it up. I was never a rabbi.
Oh.
I was a priest.
Priest? I'm really surprised to hear that.
So was the Vatican.
Yeah,
Well, look, let's be honest about it. You don't have to be Jewish to be funny.
That's a relief.
See, the way I look at it, everybody should get their laughs from the church of their own choice.
I think we better bring my brother out, and we'll get some laughs together. Dick?
Oh,
Dick,
look
come
who's here.
That was good.
Oh, how do you do?
It's certainly nice to have you on my show.
It's nice to have you on my show.
As a matter of fact,
It's a pleasure.
Oh, Dick and I.
I'll let you in on a secret.
What?
My brother Tom and I
You don't say?
were just saying that you
That
could
me?
sing a song with us.
I'd love to sing a song, and it's a song we all believe in. It's about the church of our choice.
There's a Catholic church in my little hometown with two big bells in its tower, and they rang dong ding ding.
There's a Protestant church in the same little town with a great big bell in its steeple, and it rang dong dong.
There's an old synagogue in my little hometown with a small silver bell over the door, and it rang ding-a, ding-a.
And every
big bells high up in the Catholic chower would ring.
You said shower.
My
brother made a mistake. You said Catholic shower.
I know it.
Boy, I heard it right away. You said Catholic shower.
I knew I
Were
said
you having a drink with Jackie before the show? You said Did you hear him say Catholic
What do you want from me? I got my own troubles.
He heard it, and I apologize.
Okay.
Now,
Do you know anything at all about the Catholics?
no.
They'll get you.
All right, then you do it.
Then I'm probably not safe here either.
Well, there was these two big bells in the Catholic tower, and they rang. Dong, ding, ding.
Then the great big bell in the Protestant steeple would answer, dong, dong.
And in the old synagogue, there was this little silver bell, hanging a little crooked, that would sing, ding ding.
And every night when they all rang together, they would sound just like this.
Dong, ding, ding.
Dong, dong.
Ding ding. Thank you. It's not necessary. Please, it's not necessary. Please. That's all, huh? You know, to me, it's a special kick. There's no other show probably in the whole world that has such a spirit of warmth, of brotherhood. This is the only show where nobody cares who you are, what you are. They judge you as a human being, not by your religion. Am I right, mister? As a man who's not too intelligent to poison, what would you say? Because this is the spirit of brotherhood that we hope would pervade our whole society. Because it makes no difference what a person is. Like, here's a man, I don't know what he is. I don't care what he is. It's none of my business. I don't like this man. But I don't judge a man by his religion. I don't even judge him by his color, because that's nobody's business. Like, here's a man, I don't know what he is either. I don't know what you are. But I'm not better than him. I'm not better than him. I'm better than this guy. Nobody is better than anybody else. That's the essence of democracy. Do you understand what I'm talking about, mister? I asked you 3 questions. Don't you know anything? This is true all over the world. There's too much hate and violence. How many people really believe in brotherhood? Very few. When I go, it'll be all over. I'm on the wrong side. I found out in this business you can't please everybody. Some people like you, some don't. Do you notice that? I think in your case, most people don't. But it happens to be true. Do you notice that? You can't like everybody. You can't enjoy everybody. It's almost impossible. The best we could hope for is a degree of tolerance to at least appreciate the right of other people. You got that so far? Are you Jewish? No? Get out. Because people are basically all the same. I don't care if a man is white or black. It's nobody's business. People are all the same. Let's be honest about it. A man is born black. Does that make him worse than you? There's nobody worse than you. Except this guy. I found one guy worse than you. There's people worse than you too, but I never met them, I'll be honest. What I'm trying to bring out is that's the only way that this country will ever survive. Will you ever stop to think that this country was actually born by accident? We're all here by accident. You certainly are. Do you know when Columbus discovered America, he wasn't even looking for America? Anybody? So far, you didn't know one thing unless I told you. He wasn't. He was looking for a shortcut to India. Nobody could figure it out because he was running around with Queen Isabella at the time. I don't know if you heard about it. And he was doing pretty good. All of a sudden, he started looking for a shortcut to India. Everybody else was looking for a shortcut to Queen Isabella. You know, originally when he came, he accomplished nothing because all the banks were closed. It was Columbus Day. That's my best joke, mister. I think there's a Nazi right in front of me. It hurts him that a Jew is white. I'm trying to preach the significance of brotherhood and love. Do you understand that, mister? Right now we got problems all over the world. Take a look what's going on in Vietnam. Mister. Do you understand what's going on? No matter how much you love your country, are you a citizen? Doesn't it bother you what's going on there? I don't believe everything they tell me. Every day they tell me that we knocked out 500 bridges in North Vietnam. You believe that? I studied North Vietnam carefully. I just came from there. I found out there's only 8 bridges in North Vietnam. How do we find 500 bridges a week to knock out? Anybody? I'll tell you how they do it. You're lucky I'm not busy. I'll explain it to you. Every day we send bombers over North Vietnam, and these bombers drop bridges. Then we knock out the bridges that we dropped, and we will go. You understand that? Well, thank the Lord. About time you applauded something. I was admitting to admire how you could control yourself. Now you either laugh it up or get out. I don't even. Let me tell you a true story. Are you busy, miss? Listen to this. You're not too thrilled about these jokes at all, huh? Why don't you sit with him? We'll keep all this stuff over. I'm trying to bring out something to you. Like right now, we should rededicate ourselves to our country. We ought to thank the Lord for the fact that we even live here. How many countries would let a man in your condition sit right in the front? You know what kind of a country this is? It's like Richard Nixon said only last week, and I don't want to make fun of him because I'm proud of the fact that we have a man like him to become the president of our nation. Because he's going to do a lot of things nobody ever did before. And he himself don't know what it is. As a matter of fact, that's how he won the campaign. He says, I'm definite. About what? I can't tell you. He says, I'm going to do. They said, what? He says, it's not my business. He never answered a question throughout the campaign. That's why they voted for him. They figured if he don't know what to do, he must be pretty good. He's smart enough not to find out. He's no good. Did you ever hear one of his speeches? He said, I'd like to make one thing very clear, and I think this is very important to make it very clear, whatever it is that I'm talking about. Because if we make one thing clear, then we could go and make another thing clear and have two clear things that we didn't have before. Because once you have number one and number two, then... Help out, don't get out. I don't mean to pick on you. I only pick on you for one reason. I don't like you. You know, this is hilarious. I pick on him, he gets mad. I pick on him, he laughs. You know why he laughs? Why do you think he laughs? Stupid, he don't know what it is. I'm kidding you. I don't make a living from picking on people. If you was a person, I wouldn't have bothered you either. I just told myself a better joke than I told you. Don't get the wrong impression. I don't want to mix in politics because this is none of my business. I'm here to express the tributes of this country in the terms of the brotherhood and love that this nation enjoys. And the only thing that will make this nation endure. I say let's forget differences. Let's get together once and for all and get the Germans. That's the only way. Not that the Germans are bad people, but if you're Jewish, because I feel brotherhood here more than any place else. Like here's a black man sitting right in front of me. Look how I can tell. I know my business. You want me to tell you the truth? You're as good as this guy anytime. And I'm not too crazy about this guy. That's right, because we're all here by accident, and we didn't pick out the color we were born. Did somebody call you up before you were born and say, Mister, what color do you want? It's an accident of birth. If somebody asked you for a color before you were born, the chances are you never would have picked white. I'll bet you would have picked pink. That's right, then what would you do if you were pink and everybody else was light blue? Where would you go? Everybody would say, you hear about that pink guy? He's moving into the neighborhood. I'll ask you another question, as long as I'm not busy. You see, if it's such a thrill to be born white, I'd like to know this. How is it every time the sun comes out, every white person lays on the floor like a dead horse, desperate to turn brown? Somehow born brown, not so hot, but turn brown. I was just in Miami Beach. They were admiring a guy with a tan there. What a tan! They couldn't get over it. Then they found out he's really colored. Get out! I say that it makes no difference who you are as long as you don't look like this guy. It's all the spirit of fun. He don't think so. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for the opportunity of really seeing me here in person. May God bless me and keep me. I shall have nothing to worry about for many years to come. I happen to be a wonderful person, and that's why I want to wish myself from the bottom of my heart the very best of it. Thank you very much.
Once, a long time ago, in a concert in Atlanta, Georgia, the audience loved our next guest so much that they awarded him a title.
And that title was more than deserved. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to present the genius, Mr. Ray Charles.
Hey, hey.
It's useless to say So I'll just live my life in dreams of yesterday.
Thank you very much.
You made me love you.
I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do that.
You made me want you. And all the time you knew it. I think you've always known it. You made me happy sometimes. Yeah, you made me glad. And there were times, babe, you made me feel so bad. You made me cry for.
I didn't want to tell you. I just didn't want to talk about it.
I want some love that's true. Yes, I do. Indeed, I do. Don't you know I do, baby? Gimme, gimme, gimme what I cry for. You know you got the kind of loving that I can die for. You know you made me love you. What I cry for. You got the kind of loving that I die for. You know you made me. Now listen here, woman. You know you made me. Yes, you did. You know you made me. Come here, baby.
We'll be right back with Ray Charles, Jackie Mason, and our Smothers Brothers Minority Report on the second half of the Smothers Comedy Brothers Hour. And now, the second in a continuing series of Smothers Brothers Minority Reports. Here to ask tonight's question is Dick Smothers.
On our first Minority Report, we asked our guests how they felt about the way the government spends their tax dollar. And tonight, based upon the fact that over 200,000 young Americans were drafted last year, our question is simply this. What do you think about the draft system? Okay, our first guest tonight is once again Mr. Kapowski. We're here tonight, Mr. Kapowski, to ask your opinion of the American draft.
Oh, it's beautiful, your American draft. I guess your American draft much better here than in Russia.
Does everyone have to serve in the Russian army?
Oh, no, it's very easy to evade the draft in Russia. Oh. You see, in Russia, everything is political. First, you get your political notice. Uncle Kosygin wants you. Then, if you don't want him, first, you go to Soviet Health and Welfare for your political health certificate. If you cannot obtain this, then you go to Politburo for political exemption. If you fail to get that, then you go to Supreme Politburo for political discharge. If you can't get any of those things, then you go to American Embassy for political asylum.
He's a wonderful American. Our next gentleman is Mr. Hernandez. One of the proposals for correcting the unfairness of the draft has been to create some sort of a lottery system.
Oh. You mean like they do in Mexico where everybody takes a chance and buys a ticket and the winning number is going to get drafted?
That's right.
That's a very good idea, Mr. Smothers, except for one thing.
What?
Who's going to buy a ticket?
Thank you very much.
Anytime, senor.
Next we have a lady from New York, and her name is Mrs. Klein. Did you ever have any personal experience with the draft?
Oh, yes. The draft hit our neighborhood very hard. Our neighbor's son, Tony Salvatore down the street, Mrs. Acropolo's boy, Nicky, my own son, Saul, they all received their draft notices, and it's so sweet. Once a week, we mothers gather in each other's houses to read our son's mail, and it comes from all over. Winnipeg, Toronto, Vancouver,
Thank you very much, Mrs. Klein.
Don't mention it.
Hey, we'll see you next week.
All right, if you don't get drafted.
Don't worry, I'm over age. Now, from San Francisco, Mr. Harris. Hello, Mr. Harris. Hello. Today's Minority Report deals with the question, do you think the draft laws are fair in this country?
Now, that's a very interesting question. I believe that the draft laws show absolutely no racial discrimination whatsoever. In fact, I believe that the black man has an even better opportunity to be drafted than the white man. And the equality does not stop there. Why, here at home, sometimes we're asked to ride at the back of the bus. But when we're called into the armed services, we're moved immediately to the front. Now, that is more than equal opportunity.
Tell me, do you have any suggestions on how the draft laws might be improved?
Well, now, I believe that when you're fighting for a real direct cause, in other words, when the actual freedom of Americans is directly placed in jeopardy, I don't think you need the draft laws.
Well, well, thank you very much.
After all, now, we didn't need them in Watts in 65, Chicago in 66, Newark and Detroit in 67, Chicago.
I understand. Very interesting. Our last gentleman hails from County, California, and his name is Mr. Davis. Now, sir, how do you feel about the present draft laws?
Gracious me, I'm glad you asked me that. With 2 kids of my own, I really have to face this problem. Golly, it's kind of like a two-headed coin, isn't it? My country on the one side, my family on the other. But I sat down and I talked with my kids for a long while. And we agreed that serving your country should come before anything. Why, it's a boy's duty to serve in the armed forces when he's called.
That's, well, are you boys in the service now?
I happen to have girls. But that doesn't change my opinion, not one little bit. Well, I remember when I was drafted, I couldn't wait to get to the front and tangle with the enemy. I wanted to see action and fight for my country. But when you can type 80 words a minute, you go where you need it the most.
Tell me, sir, how do you feel about the draft laws?
The draft laws, well, I feel about the draft the same way I feel about birth control. I like it. It's a very good thing.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's a good thing for your Negroes, your Jews,
yeah,
your Polacks,
I'm sorry.
all your undesirables.
Well, this brings to a close our second Smothers Brothers Minority Report. And until next time, we'd like to wish each and every one of our minorities a good week. Thank you.
Tell me, Ray, what are you so happy about?
I'm not happy, man. I'm singing the blues. I'm singing about people suffering.
Oh, you see, when my people suffer, they call it source.
Well, what's the difference?
Well, when you got the blues, you sing, but when you got source, you krechts.
Well, what's a krechts?
See, a krechts is a groan. It goes like this. Oy, wees mir.
You mean like...
Oh, boy. Wait a second. That was no krechts, that was a yifke. Wait a second. I think right now you're ready for me to show you how to really sing the blues. I know you're considered the greatest blues singer in the world, but everybody could stand a little improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand you.
Now, follow me carefully, and you'll make a real fantastic blues singer.
All right.
I got the blues in the morning. That was close. I got the blues most every night. I think you're getting voice.
Oh, sorry.
I got the blues every time my baby don't treat me right. Now tell me the truth, Ray. How do you like the way I sing the blues?
Man, that's source.
Thank you very much. We'd like to thank our guests for this week, Ray Charles and Jackie Mason. Let's give them a big hand. We'd like to give a special thanks to the Minority Report people, Michael Constantine, Betty Walker, Mel Stewart, Murray Roman, and Kenneth Mars.
That's right. Next week, our guests will be Lee French, the Klingers, and Andy Williams. So we're looking forward to that.
Before we say goodnight, a man named Chuck Braverman, a young filmmaker, made a film for us called American Time Capsule that probably a lot of you saw, that summed up the 200 years of American history in 2.5 minutes.
So we asked him to make the same kind of look at 1968, the year that was.
So as soon as 1968 was over, Chuck stopped his camera down and ran to the drugstore, and yesterday the film came back.
Right, and he spent all day cutting up and putting the pictures together, and they're all finished.
So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, hot off the reel, The World of 1968.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there was 1968 in just 4 minutes.
Let's hope that 1969 will allow us to make a film that has nothing but beautiful things in it.
Right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Also appearing on tonight's show were Paul Wayne and Marvin Miller. This is Roger Carroll.
We hope you enjoyed that show. We had a great time taping the show and working with such great entertainers. And I think, looking back now, that one of the things that gave the show the surprises a lot was that sometimes you tune in and you find young performers just starting
They've
up.
never seen before, yeah.
Never seen before. But on this show tonight, we had two performers that really at the top of their form.
I think it's probably as a live performance on tape as it was done was probably one of the best presentations of Ray Charles that was done in that time, because the exciting part was Nelson Riddle's orchestra, one of the great orchestras of all time.
Yes, Nelson Riddle backed him up. It seemed to be shot well. It seems contemporary. And what I really liked, it was fun, working with Ray Charles, number one, had a great sense of humor. You could put him in any situation, and he would ever say, no, I can't do that. No, just put me in front of the piano. He would do anything for you. And to have him set up, like in the finale, do the musical setups for each of the skits, I thought it's a thrill to see him. I mean, that's quality setting up. That's real quality. And then, as we said, Jackie Mason coming out there at the top, very top of his form. He moved, he related to the audience. I think young comics, if there's any young comedians, I think you watch that performance, tape it or whatever, and see, those are the skills you really have to get.
That was about a 9-minute piece, one of the best stand-up pieces I've ever seen him do. Jackie Mason was a big fan of the Smothers Brothers. I remember coming back in Las Vegas, he came back and he said, I don't know how you guys do it, but you do it good. I've never seen anything like that before, but I hope I don't do it again. And he was and every time we worked with Jackie Mason or Jackie Leonard, by the end of the week, we were going, hey, you little cocker. We just started talking like Jimmy Durante and everybody was doing Jackie Mason at the time, and one of the best stand-ups. And you know, if he'd had a brother, he'd have been so much better.
How good could they be if it takes two comedians to do one show? You notice when I work alone. I don't hire partners. Once a guy needs a partner, I know he's got no talent. Didn't hurt my career. I don't want to lie to you. It didn't help me either. I would say it stayed about neutral. It was a lot like sweeping up in the kitchen. Doesn't help your career, it doesn't hurt, but it just cleans the floor. Everything you do doesn't have to help or hurt your career. I did it because I knew these were two Gentiles out of work, so I figured I'll help them out a little. They said things that made some people disturbed, some mad. They weren't exactly totally conformist in their thinking. They were Saturday Night Live 25 years before Saturday Night Live. And everything you see that's offbeat or weird or crazy on Saturday Night Live today is very acceptable because we live in a different world than we live in those days. Those days, if you're even slightly nonconformist, you look like a revolutionary.
And what about Chuck Braverman?
Chuck Braverman's piece caused more controversy, more talk. His first piece he did for the Smothers Brothers was History of America in 3 minutes, very fast, kinetic, very fast cuts. And then at the end of '68, we asked him to put together for the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour a recap of 1968 and all the things that happened. A very disturbing year.
Well, American Time Capsule, I think Tom will back this up, garnered, when they were beginning to have some critical problems with CBS and the press and the anti-war movement, and so they needed a little positive boost, and American Time Capsule garnered the largest positive mail response that they had had up to that time. So there was a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of energy, and everybody knew something was happening. And so, of course, we had to do a follow-up. And the logical thing to do, it seemed to me after doing the history of the United States, this was now November of '68, and 1968 was a milestone year.
So, thanks for watching. We hope to see you next time for another Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. Bye now. Bye.